What's going on? Captain Paul from the Talking Shit Podcast. Appreciate if you like, comment, and subscribe. Helps us with the algorithm. And if you really dig these videos and you like this content we're making, most of the people that watch our videos are not subscribed, so this is going to help us. And if you like the videos, might as well subscribe. We're going to keep bringing this dope content. So let's get right into it, man. Transphobia doesn't exist, and I'll tell you why. Right? It is a word that is kind of just like a hot potato thrown in other fucking, like, oh, that's what you are, you know, if you don't agree with someone's lifestyle. It's actually interesting. And we talked about it in our live show about the Leah Thomas video that I made, and how that a transgender woman swimmer went into a meet, dominated her first meet, and just became into the top percentile of her sport. Whereas before she was like a very mediocre swimmer on the women's side. So I saw a lot of, people kind of agreeing with my line of thinking, but I've also saw some real, I would say, brainwashed individuals that aren't looking to have a conversation or look at things objectively. They're just looking to like reaffirm their worldview and essentially say, no, that's not true. It's transphobic. It's a woman. Transgender women have been competing in sports for decades, which is not true. Listen, that buzzword is thrown around so fucking loosely, it's laughable at this point. Like, like, for example, Nazi, right? That is like everyone's a fucking Nazi this day, where it actually lost its imperative meaning. Like, when you used to be called a Nazi, that was a very damning, very, very damning accusation, where now it's just like, if you're going to be called a Nazi for sharing an unpopular opinion on Twitter or a conservative opinion on Twitter, it's fucking a joke, right? And that's what they've done with transphobia. Transphobia doesn't exist. It just doesn't, right? No one's afraid of a transsexual. No one's afraid of tranny dick. No one's afraid of tranny pussy, right? Most people don't give a fuck what you do in your own life, right? Like, yeah, is there those small percentage of people that are like evil motherfuckers that, are, very big bigots and will do harm to people? Absolutely. But most of the population doesn't give a fuck what you do behind closed doors. I saw, a lot of positive support, but I just want to say this. I saw a few comments about saying, oh, transphobic. No, I'm not transphobic. I've had people that I know in my life that are transgender, right? I don't have any hate or vitriol for those people. Do I think that they are confused? And I think that gender dysphoria is real within itself? Absolutely. Do I think transitioning solves all those issues? I don't think so. The studies haven't panned that out. I actually think there's going to be probably in like 20, 30 years, when we see all these chemicals and these hormones put into various different body types and just seeing like the effects of cancerous tumors grown, they're going to be like, oh, there's some negative consequences, because everyone wants to like transition these days, but nobody wants to have the hard discussion about how bad that is for you medically and the risk for cancer that you have. And that hits me pretty close to home due to dealing with my own shit. So I think people take that, I hate to say it in a way, kind of pretty lightly, right? They don't really think about the damning consequences of putting an unnatural substance into your body. That's why I don't do drugs. That's why I really don't drink much alcohol. I like being in control, right? And gathering my dopamine, right? That happiness emotion from being completely in control of myself and doing things like this, things that I enjoy. And, getting onto the topic about transphobia is that, just because I don't believe that Leah Thomas shouldn't compete in women's sports doesn't mean I'm transphobic. It just means I'm using my brain, understanding that Leah Thomas went through male puberty, male muscle structure, male bone density. It is absolutely unfair. There's just such a distinct advantage that that they have over, biological women. It's not fair. I don't know how anyone can argue that. One of the stupidest arguments I have seen is like, well, Michael Phelps' body was built this way. Listen, yes, are those freaks of nature that come along and just that one-a-generational type of athlete? Absolutely, right? You don't artificially get made into that. If you looked at Thomas, looks like a man in a women's swimsuit. And I'm not trying to be disparaging. I understand people go through things, and it's this very serious mental illness. But we need to deal with the actual issues at hand here. You're having someone that is ripping the dreams away from women that have worked their whole lives towards it. Most women and most women athletes are afraid to come out publicly and say it, but they're not going to want to fight a man. You know what I mean? They're not going to want to compete against men because they understand the biological difference between men and women. Like Serena Williams, for example, one of the most dominant women's tennis players of all time. You could say the greatest, easily, hands down. 400th or 300th ranked tennis player in the world for men's would absolutely wash her just because of the strength difference, the power. And she has even, you know, come out before and said that. Like, men is just a completely different game. So you have, and it even shows with the Thomas situation, where you have a very mediocre swimmer turn into the top 1% in swimmer when it switches to the women's side. So are we just gonna throw out all logic and thoughtful recourse because, ooh, my feelings, and oh my God, I have this liberal side I have to protect? No, that's fucking stupid. That's idiotic, you know. And you have these fucking morons like Hassan Abi, whatever the fuck his name is. He just absolutely disgusts me. I'm actually going to pull his name up in a second. So you have people like Hassan Abi, right? He makes a video saying I've preached transphobic, said like, I think 100 times or some wild shit. And then funny in some of their clips that they prove, oh, like, you know, he's talking down to even transgender people. Like, I know about these issues more than you. You know, like, no. It's not transphobia because we disagree with you. It's not transphobia that I don't believe transgender women should compete in women's sports. It's not transphobia when I put in a bio on a dating, you know, website that I'm interested in biological women. It's not transphobia that I don't think women should get robbed, right, of their experiences in life so we can placate a very, very, very small minority. And it's not transphobia for a woman to feel uncomfortable with somebody that has a penis and a pair of testicles going into their restroom and using the facilities with them. If you don't think that there's going to be some scumbags that misuse that whole transgender thing to assault women, well, too bad, it's already happened. You had that happen in even high school. Disgusting behaviors that have gone or seen. This whole pandemic of transphobia, every fucking single left-leaning cuck I watch their videos, they say, oh, it's inherent transphobia. Like, no, it's using my brain, using logic, and seeing what's fair for women, because men and women have very different ways of going things about life. Just different muscular system, a different skeletal system, different bone density. Like, if a transgender woman was to have a full head-on contact with a biological woman, that biological woman would get destroyed because the bones aren't as dense on a biological woman. They're just not. That's why you don't see men and women compete against each other. And wrapping up this video, I will close it with this remarks. I have seen the transphobia, the stupidity about, you know, liberal leaning loonies, right? Because I do think in a lot of ways liberalism is disease. You have a lot of these liberals that come out and say, hey, like, let's just abolish genders in sports altogether. Okay, so you just want to get rid of women's sports then? Is that it? Do you actually, like, realize what you're saying? If men and women competed in sports against one another, it would just be men's sports. Women wouldn't be able to keep up. There might be that rare, once in a while woman that can be a, you know, a bench player, but aside from that, not really gonna happen. From my own anecdotal experiences, even playing hockey, right? We had women try to play D1, just even high school. And as a guy, you can call me a wimp or a pussy, but as a guy, when I was going against a girl, like, there was one girl that played, and I respected her because I thought she was pretty good. She's very good when she played in the girls division, but she tried to play with the boys. It's like, bro, like, when I'm going for, I can't, like, lay her out. I'm like, it's like, I just can't destroy her. So, like, you kind of gently kind of push her off, which you could easily do because she was smaller. And it's just like, I think it destroys the competition, right? You're putting these women in situations that they can actually get hurt and become paralyzed. And that has happened. Girls have become paralyzed because when they get hit by a large body mass at a high rate of speed, that's not necessarily a situation that's inducive of being very good outcome. Like I said, transphobia doesn't exist, not to the extent of what these liberal fucking idiots want to say. I would be very interested to hear what you guys think down below. Like I said, I appreciate if you could like, comment, and subscribe. It helps us with the algorithm, helps us grow. We are building a community here of conversation. The only thing I will ask is if you are going to have a conversation down in the comment section or a debate, you keep it civil. That's what we want. You know, this is Captain Paul. I'm done talking my shit. And I'll see you in the next episode.